Fair enough.
Hey, they have an interstate running through it, so
hey, there you go.
Kinda.
Is there a Walmart? I'm sure there
is.
Okay.
I'm Jake Schriner.
Oh, wait.
I'm not Bob Nelson.
Oh my gosh.
I'm Tracey White.
Got me again. All right, wow.
I'm always surprising you with that.
I don't know why. I'm Pastor Johnny Leckie. This is the Compass Conversation Podcast, probably the last one for a while. So enjoy it while you can.
Hi.
We will follow you. You have the name above every name. We will follow you, King Jesus.
Wait. Hi.
Hi. Bye.
Oh, goodness.
We meet somewhere in the world every week. That joke just never gets old for me. It's old for everyone else. All right, well, you know what? Thanks for joining us tonight. We're going to start right over here because he's got a burr in his saddle. We call it Jake Schriner. Jake, how are you tonight, my friend?
Doing all right. First full day back at work after being gone for a week.
God.
So, you work really hard before you leave, and then you come back and you work really hard to catch up, and I still don't feel like I'm fully caught up yet.
Right.
I ended up actually working Saturday morning for a half day. So that was kind of nice. Kind of got my feet wet.
Oh.
Talked to a few of the guys that were there and made sure, got all the scoop on all the stuff that happened while I was gone. And it's easier to deal with that when I also don't have customers walking in the door every 5 minutes, wanting to talk or wanting to place orders or whatever. But yeah, so the three big things: our delivery truck went down, our big bandsaw went down, and one of my guys spent a day in the hospital for heat exhaustion.
Oh, for the love.
So other than that, I heard things went pretty smoothly. So it was good. But vacation was fantastic. It was absolutely awesome. Lake of the Ozarks, if you guys haven't ever been, it's absolutely beautiful down there. I didn't know this, but it's actually, the lake was made because they dammed up a river and just let it fill up. So it's not like a naturally existing lake. It's somewhat man-made.
Yeah.
But it's cool because it kind of like twists and turns and everything. Cool. So point to point on a straight line, it's about 16 miles on the map. But if you follow the lake all the way through, it's 92 miles.
Wow.
So a lot of space to travel if you like boating. But it was cool. Went water skiing and wakeboarding. Harper went tubing for the first time. Yeah, that was cool. We just put it in idle and just kind of hung out behind the boat. But I convinced her to go up a little faster. I was on the tube with her too, so she wasn't too scared.
Great.
And so I had a little wake going behind us while we were tubing, and she was laughing and having fun with it. And, it was great seeing my whole family. Everybody had their significant others there. Ate a lot of good food, hung out, played games, spent time on the water. It's really nice because we had the boat at the dock, like right in the boat slip the whole time. It's really nice to be able to say the phrase, "Hey, you want to go on the boat?" And then 2 minutes later, you're on the boat. Yeah, as opposed to having to trailer it and launch it and park and then get in. And it's because growing up boating was on Saturdays that we decided to go out to the river or the lake. You got to get up really early, load the boat, drive out.
Oh, right.
Trailer it, launch it. Yeah, wait on the dock for the trailer to park. So after 2.5 hours has passed, you're finally out enjoying the water. And it's so much nicer to have it just right there.
Nice.
Yeah.
So awesome.
So it was really cool. It was a lot of fun. And then the last day of the trip, my parents' boat was 23 years old, and it was running great. And then the last day of the trip, after everybody had left and it was just my folks there, the boat died.
Oh.
So it made it to its last leg, and they managed to get it to the trailer, fortunately, and get it out of the water. And they took it down to a dealership. And then 2 days later, we all got a text in the group chat like, "Hey, we bought a new boat."
See you next year.
Yeah, right. So we're talking about it.
Make it a family reunion.
We want to do a lake vacation every year, every couple years, and we had so much fun with it. Minus all the bug bites and the sunburns. Other than that, good.
The cost.
Yeah, the physical cost.
Look, if you go on a vacation and you don't get sunburn, you didn't do it
Was it
right.
right?
So,
Or you're in England like me, and then you just get a head.
Yeah.
So I'm glad I'm glad I'm back out here. I don't miss the bugs one little bit. It's Colorado. We're very spoiled with the what we have out here. So
All right, man. Well, I know you got another bug in your
Yeah, we'll talk about that during the garden
session. We'll come back to that. All right. Well, I'm glad you're here now. Okay. So, Bob, how are you, sir?
I'm just going to go with okay. I haven't been feeling good for about a week now.
That's
It's
right,
still,
yeah.
Here's the wacky part. I'm pretty sure I'm allergic to my day job because all last week, you know, it kind of got better on Wednesday when I had Juneteenth off, and then go back to work and it gets worse. Then Saturday, I had the choice of, you know, taking a nap or going for a run, so I took a 3-mile run. That's what Bobs do. And it worked. I felt really much better after that. Sweat out whatever was going on. Felt pretty good on Sunday, all the way through the our gardening and everything. It was all good. And then I get to work and no.
Something in your building.
Yeah.
Yeah, it could very well be the
boss.
no, I didn't see my boss, so that worked out fine. No, I like my boss, Casey. You're a good manager. But yeah, it was part of it was I've got work glasses that I've left at home. They're set exactly for my screens, so I'm like, oh my gosh, this hurts, and everything's a little bit on the fuzzy side. So I just like re-triggered everything. But other than that, I'm doing pretty good. I've had a great weekend with gardening, leaving that to the garden segment. And yeah, just motoring along.
The garden. All right. Well, glad you're here. News and weather next. All right. Across the table, Tracey White.
Hello.
You're here.
Yes.
We're happy you're here, friend. How are you?
I'm doing all right. Doing all right. So the sad news was, you guys know, Mama June passed away.
Yes.
It was not unexpected. In fact, it took much longer than expected for her to pass away.
Yeah.
But she did take her last breath at 12:02 a.m. On Saturday morning. So, yeah.
107.
107 years old. And Kathy and I were fortunate enough to, the week before, be down there house hunting, and we got to sit with her and talk to her and everything. And then, this last Friday we were down there again, looking at some more houses, and were able to see her, but she was, very near the end, so she wasn't responsive, but we got to say goodbye. So yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Sad and cool.
Yeah. I think I probably worry more about, my dad and how he feels about it and everything, but, he knows how this stuff works. And the thing about Mama June was she loved God and she loved people, right?
Yeah.
I mean, and not only did she showed everybody that, right? I like to say there's nobody that Mama June ever met that she didn't love. Mm-hmm. And she always, no matter what, she showed love to everybody. And that was a really good thing. Heaven's rejoicing.
Yeah, that's awesome, sure.
So there you go. But while we were down there, this last trip down, we found our house and we put an offer on it, and they accepted the offer.
Yes.
And so we're going to be moving down there in a few weeks.
Yep, so you had two bits of news, both with a little joy and a little sorrow.
A little joy, a little sorrow. But everything on the house front is going as planned and progressing just fine. So, let's see. Oh, I called Andy today, my oldest son, and I told him the news because I thought he would want to know, right? And he did. He's so funny. Because he masks his sadness in certain ways, but whenever I told him, he said, because everybody thought it's about time.
Oh, wow.
Because
see, I was confused for a minute, because you had two bits of news, and I wasn't sure if you were telling him about your move or about Mama June.
No, Mama June.
And I was like, if you said I'm moving, it's about time.
No,
I didn't know.
No, he already knew that. What I didn't know is after that conversation, he called my mom and dad just to express his condolences to them directly, and that was really sweet. Mom thought that was a really sweet one. So it's a very grown-up thing that he did, and a very respectful and compassionate thing. So that was makes me proud of him.
Yeah, good for you. That's awesome.
And I think that's about it.
About it.
Johnny?
I was about to say, thanks for joining us. That was about it.
for me. How you doing?
I'm doing all right. I had to get up at 4 o'clock this morning.
Well, that's
Nice.
not fun.
I know, most people are like, whatever, we always get up and go to work. Well, I had to get Michael to, right, I had to get Michael to the office that he works at because they're doing this business trip this week.
Oh, yeah.
And I didn't want him to have to leave his car in their parking lot all week long. So I offered to give him a ride, like a crazy man. But I was feeling it because a lot of physical stuff throughout the whole weekend. And I just was really tired. So today has been intermittent nodding and just working on different things and then suddenly waking up, where am I? Wait, what's going on? So anyhow, and I love, Jake, you always come from work, you got the work look.
I know, yeah.
No, it's fantastic.
Put on my
It's kind of how I looked. I just took a shower right before I came. I just had that little luxury today. But also, you guys know I've gone about 4 days without any allergy medicine. But today I had to break that. We were outside, all day yesterday and everything, and I've been doing pretty good. I've been kind of working on that kind of wheezing, and yes, I am going to go have an annual checkup coming up. I'm going to talk to him about all this. So without Zyrtec, I start wheezing at about 9 o'clock at night. So I'm not sure what's going on there fully, but here's what took me over. It was this morning. This happens from time to time, and it's still sort of there. My lips sometimes begin to swell, and it just kind of swells up. I start looking like Homer Simpson or something. And that's always an allergic reaction with me. So something in the air, some plant, something. Cottonwood is everywhere.
Cottonwood.
I would not be
goodness.
surprised.
Yeah.
I was like, you know what? Maybe I'll try tomorrow. But I need to go buy some of this stuff. I took it and the swelling's gone down.
So are you not wanting to do the allergy medicine because you're
it's
building up a tolerance or something?
It's a little of that. Also, I literally have taken it almost every day since January.
Oh.
And that doesn't seem right without me talking to a doctor. So
That's fair.
yeah, just if he says, no, that's fine, let's get you a prescription so you don't pay as much for it or whatever, that's fine. But
There you go.
yeah, I'm sort of self-diagnosing at this point. So anyway, you can kind of see it when it's also funny when it starts to swell right here, and I try to smile, it's kind of it's like being at the dentist, So it's sort of still there. You can't quite see it now, but it's like, ooh.
The danger of self-diagnosis is, especially if you're on WebMD, you'll have cancer.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm not even alive. So. Anyway. But anyway, all that is fine. Leona is, of course, out of town. Now Michael is out of town. So literally it's just me. I'm going to have dinner with, hopefully with Melissa. She's better. She wasn't doing better this morning. Sometime this week. But yeah. So we also were on vacation last week, Leona and I, and had just an awesome time. It was very much a road trip, but it was a really... We literally almost decided every night where we were going to be the next night. Sometimes that's fun, and then the fun about that is like, I'm free, I can do whatever I want. And then you realize, oh, if I thought this through a little more, we could have done this and this.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a balanced deal, but yeah, it was great. We went to Newport Beach, arrived around sunset. I showed some of you guys the pictures of that, posted some of those, and that was just, I call it that magical moment because it really kind of was. I mean, it's like everything you would imagine. The pictures I posted were with zero filter of any kind. It's that just sort of orange sunset, empty beach, waves. Everything was just very, very cool. So, and then we were at the beach again the next day. But a lot of driving, a lot of hanging out together, and that was very much needed to be away from everyone for just a little while. And then visited with my friend on Sunday, Trey Van Camp at Passion Creek Church, and saw some of their sort of behind the scenes stuff, and that was kind of fun. It's always fun to visit other churches that are just a few steps farther along than you are and what they're doing and how they're doing it. They set up on Saturday for like an hour and a half, 2 hours every Saturday. But Yeah. So, but also found out some of the simple things they were doing too. So got some good ideas. So anyway, they were great hosts. Trey, if you see this, which I don't know that you even would, but you guys were awesome to us.
Anyway, he's one of the millions of subscribers.
Yeah, perhaps.
And millions of subscribers in my head.
Yes.
Well,
They're there.
They're there, man.
Like and subscribe.
But while we were away, we'll go ahead and transition now to talk about some Compass stuff as well. You know, you guys were here, did the live, and so Bob, you were hosting that. So thanks for doing that.
Always.
That was a great message. You got to hear live.
Yes. When we recorded, I got
that was the
got the
spoilers
spoilers,
about
yes.
last time, right? Yeah. But anyway, what do you guys want to talk about?
Okay, let's go ahead and talk
Jay?
about
Oh, boy.
The prairie dogs that are so cute from a distance
Oh.
and up close, they are vermin.
Yeah, well, I think it's like, I know in the garden they have a rule against it, but they're like a shoot-on-site predator animal in the state of Colorado.
You
But,
look at license.
but without the, you can't do it at the, which license are you talking about?
Like
A shooting
hunting.
license?
You don't need a hunting license.
Yeah.
Well,
Just need a 22.
no, you
I've got one.
Oh, you don't need one?
don't need
Well, I thought you were saying you gotta have a license.
No.
It's in city limits,
License
though,
to
isn't
kill.
it? So
It technically, yeah.
It
But
would be.
I have a headlamp. I'm just gonna go out there at like midnight.
But
Do
they're
you-
sleeping. So.
you want me to take my 22?
007
We'll put a hose in one end and stand at the other and just wait.
to kill pretty much.
Club it.
Yeah, no firearms needed. How about bow hunting? Can you do prairie dogs?
That'd be
with
fun to
bow?
see, but
Consider it a firearm, even though it's not.
Yeah.
Really?
You have to be pretty
It's-
skilled
it's-
too. Those things aren't that big.
So-
Unless you're like really close.
Yeah.
So my question is, if it's legal to do that in the city, is it not legal to do it in the city garden?
So the Delaney Community Garden abides under the greater entity that is Denver Urban Garden. So
Yeah.
we're Doug. So we are one of
right.
like 30 some community gardens in the greater metro area. It might even be more, honestly. But yeah, they have their whole list of policies too, which I have not read through, but I am sure that there is something in there about
Don't shoot.
firearms on site,
Yeah.
shooting animals, poisoning, all that
Plastic
stuff.
explosives.
Yeah, plastic explosives.
Yeah, we can't even
any,
use M80s because those are illegal by Aurora.
Right.
Yeah. How about traps? Can we do traps?
I thought about that, like live
Cages.
traps.
Yeah.
But the problem is we're only out there once every couple days.
Yeah.
So if you catch one, that's like inhumane to just catch one
just
and
leave them
leave it
out
out,
for a week.
out in a metal cage in the sun for 48 hours. Like, that's
Prairie dog,
torture.
I'm okay with
kill
it.
you. Yeah. We're gonna make you suffer for this.
That's mean.
So so Saturday went out, discovered because Bob had warned us that there were looked like they had been coming in, and then Saturday went out to water, and one had dug a hole up into
It was
one
like
of
a
our plots.
cartoon. In a way.
Oh, it was
like
crazy.
Bugs Bunny on his way to Albuquerque. Or whatever.
So yeah,
I left China.
filled that up on Saturday, and then Sunday when I got out there yesterday when I got out there, I was walking past and one of them had redug the hole.
Oh.
So first thing I did was grab the hose and stick the hose down there and just put it on full blast for like 2 minutes.
Yeah.
And then Bob did it about 20 minutes later too, just to reiterate the point. And then we filled it in, and I hope that's enough deterrent. I jammed a bunch of like bigger pieces of logs and stuff in the hole too to just try it. But I don't think that's going to stop them,
No,
because
probably not.
some of our neighbors were putting bricks over the holes that they were in their plot, and then new holes were just right next to the brick.
Going to your Bugs Bunny thing, there was one that had like big exits on both sides of the brick, and it was thrown.
So well, they just attacked. So
Yeah.
we went out yesterday afternoon.
And all because the city decided that the weed barrier that has evidently worked for 5 years, 4 years.
This is a very good theory.
Longer than that. I mean, they've been this Delaney Community Farm's been around for a long time, and
That's
they've
true.
always thrown the weeds over there.
Yeah.
And now this is the first year we have to clean them up, and it's also the first year that prairie dogs are there.
Yeah,
And so why would
prairie dog mafia.
how would those keep the prairie dogs who are they just wouldn't even come around?
My thought on that is they would get up to the weed barrier that was a dead or rotting, bunch of vegetation. Doesn't look attractive, so
Oh,
they
they
go
keep
look
going,
somewhere else
right.
because there's a whole bunch of field on it, back on their end of it. So
Just file a complaint with the
The city won't care.
city. Would not care about our little garden. Oh well.
So, but thank
Call
you guys
it
very
is.
much. Yeah, we'll call it is. That'll
We'll
be a
cause
big Channel 9
controversy.
story.
Yeah, right.
They'll love us at the garden.
Have a
We brought the news out.
Yeah.
Local church
Local
complaints.
complaining about prairie dogs.
cursing God's creation.
Against the city. Well, we're just gonna figure it out.
Yeah,
Where
it'll be
they're
okay.
at.
We'll kind of ride it out. It looks like the only plants they're really interested in are the peppers and tomatoes, the hot peppers in particular, and the tomatoes, which is unfortunate. But we have a vast majority of other stuff that's growing really well.
Maybe just in that one little section where they're coming out, just plant peppers right there.
Just all
Just
right
for
there.
them. We're just gonna feed them, and they'll leave everything else.
I don't think that's.
No, they'll bring friends.
Yeah, they'll tell their buddies about it.
Yeah.
Found the snack.
Carrots over
Steve!
Yeah.
Steve!
So, but yesterday was really nice. Us three and Kyle were out there, and we got a lot of weeding done.
That was
And
a
it looks
nightmare of weeding,
it
wasn't it?
really was, yeah. But it looks so much better. Resowed a whole bunch of carrot seeds, so those should be coming up in a few weeks. I think I'll be back out there tomorrow evening.
I might be able to join you out there.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, so we'll finish up, and then there's a few more things I want to plant because the sunflowers kind of got knocked down too. So I want a few more of those, and then cucumbers as well. But other than that, I think we're really on track for a fair amount of stuff this year. So
At least onions.
yeah, onions are looking great. I think we'll have plenty of those. Garlic needs to be harvested in a few weeks, and so there will be time after we harvest the garlic. There's a big section available where we could plant something that's fast growing, like beets or small radishes. Those grow really quick. Some of those can be ready to harvest in like 45 days. So I mean, they would be
There you go.
ready too. So that'd be kind of cool. So yeah, we'll do. We'll have a couple cycles of crops going through there.
The garlic's
real
not keeping the
homesteading.
prairie dogs away.
No, it's not. They're not bothering the garlic though, which is nice. Most animals don't bother garlic. That's why you can plant it outside of like fenced-in areas. But yeah,
It's just a fun. I think it's like at first I was really annoyed. It's like, oh man, I'm at work, and I still am, as are you. But it's also kind of a funny twist for our summer with this.
There's got to be something.
We have an enemy now.
thanks for
An
a good
invading
story.
army. Oh well.
Oh, and
We're gonna
then
get it.
one other small thing, might not even be that small in consideration of it all, but the sign is up at the plot, and the reaction we received was about the best possible reaction
Yeah,
we've received,
wow.
which was great. Yeah, one of the ladies that runs the garden, she walked up and was like, "Oh, the sign, does the sign get to stay?" And we're like, "Yeah, it's." She goes, "Yay!" I'm like, "Oh, that's awesome, cool."
Does
So-
the sign get to stay? I thought it was an interesting way of saying that, as if it was up to us.
Right, yeah,
I don't know. We should have been saying to her.
Yeah.
Does the sign? So yeah, that was a good sign. For
Yeah.
real.
Yeah, so it's cool. So now we
I like that.
got John 3:16.
You got John 3:16.
Yeah, it's good.
Love it. All right. Well, what else? There's a lot going on. It's been a weird. I know that we were just here last week. We're also trying to maximize our Tracey White podcast time. So that's what we're meeting again, even though we've been mostly gone for the past. You were gone a lot last week.
Yeah.
Everybody was gone. But yesterday was great in many ways. Even though it's weird to not have a big crowd with us, but there were a few more there than I thought would be. But my squeaky. There's one that was.
It wasn't
just
that bad.
hilarious to me.
It wasn't that bad.
And I also, once again, I said a funny word. Now I'm trying to remember. I tried to take note of it yesterday. If you guys don't know what it is, I'm not even going to say it. But I said something completely mispronounced.
You top-sized your message again.
Yeah, it was even worse than that, but I don't remember what it was now. If I do remember what it is, I'll put it right here.
And his disciples who are together actually during this observations of the Passover.
Crazy, right? Am I right? It was just
Unnecessary reaction.
All right, well anyhow. What else you guys got? about the weekend or about anything, everything?
So you dedicated the message to the Lord's Supper.
Yep.
Yes.
Rather than just doing a quick summary of why we do it before. So, which I really enjoyed, and I think that it's good to make sure we really understand what the Lord's Supper is about. And one of the things that hit me, because I've heard it before too, is that I just haven't had a chance to to research it. If that each of the plagues that because you read out of Exodus.
Oh, right. Yeah,
Each of the plagues that God visits on the Egyptians may or may not be an attack against a specific god, and it's definitely true. I got to thinking about it for the last one, which is the plague of the death of the firstborn, and that's not the one it's supposed to make when it's
Sorry, it's a newer film.
But in the death of the firstborn, the Pharaoh was God in the eyes of the Egyptians. So, and his son, his firstborn son, would have been the next god. So it really was an attack on their idolatry of that time, for sure.
And it's a horrible.
It's horrible.
Everything about it's
yeah.
horrible, but it's also in perspective. There is great reason behind it. I mean, you also have. And often, and again, I don't want to get off on a tangent on this. So this will be a great podcast to talk about. The various people groups that are judgment is received upon them, and is that okay? Is God nice and whatever? But often there is just horrible. There are horrible things that are happening that God is bringing judgment upon. It's the kind of thing that if you're the kind of person that might say, "Oh, that's horrible of God," and then you realize what those people were doing, you might be going, "They should be," it's like people do that just for somebody who cuts them off in traffic. It's like judgment on them, God.
I've been asked that question, and my answer is God is just.
Yeah, He's always just, and He's also unbelievably patient. Sometimes it's generation upon generation upon generation that God is still calling for repentance. And
6 non-fatal judgments and plagues before he got to the fatal one.
Yeah.
So he made plenty of room to say, "Hey, listen to me now."
Exactly.
And he hardened his heart. The Pharaoh did.
Yeah.
It was over the course of a long time too. It wasn't like 6 days in a row.
Right.
It's not like the movie.
No, it was very
Exactly. Yeah. The Prince of Egypt movie.
2 hours.
Okay.
They're cleaning up
but
the locusts, and here comes some
here comes the rest of
it. Hail and.
Some of it happened a little quicker than others, but for real. But the whole point of all of that, of course, was not just because that's a great message series on its own, right? Let's jump into Moses and talk about that whole thing. But the whole idea of the Passover itself, and I did want to bring out that it certainly accomplishes much more. Interestingly enough, what happens later is God leads them out of Egypt, cross the Red Sea. That is and that is an imagery and an event. It wasn't just like a one-time thing in the story of Scripture. It's throughout all of Scripture that references back to God doing that. In the New Testament and throughout the Old Testament, references to how God delivered them from that. But crossing the Red Sea, but that deliverance from their bondage, the twofold aspect, at least I wanted to mention, was that it is judgment. And it is also that mercy and deliverance. And truly, to anyone who responded to the blood of the Lamb, and that's where the imagery continues to go into the New Testament with Jesus being the Lamb of God and the Passover Lamb. Anyway, pretty cool stuff.
Yeah,
I spent longer on that, but I actually probably spent longer than I intended to, but that was new, right?
Yeah, one of we've talked about this several times about how the Old Testament just supports everything in the New Testament, and it's hard to understand the New Testament in a lot of ways without having some knowledge of what's going on in the Old Testament. When John the Baptist says sees Jesus, he says, "Look, it's the Lamb of God," and that comes to take away the sins of the world.
Right.
He is. If you don't understand what that is, unless you look back, you don't understand the breaking of of the bread to represent the broken body if you don't think of the suffering servant from Isaiah. You know, the spilt blood from the painting the blood on the doors. That goes straight back to the Old Testament. So
Yeah, it's very, very rich and powerful. And also, when you think about these there's not one book. It's 66 books.
Yeah.
Over thousands of years.
40 plus authors.
Yes, and that there's a unified story throughout. I mean, it's hard to get just two Christians to agree on that doctrinal thing, you know, but to see that it works, that unified story from beginning to end, cohesive, and over thousands of years.
And then there's like, you get a series of books by popular authors and stuff, and you'll get people that troll them going, wait, you said this and that part, right. And you can't do that with the Old Testament and the New Testament.
Yeah, it's amazing. But all that to say, it was cool to be together and under the tree, do the Lord's Supper together. I'm glad you guys get to share the Lord's Supper with us before you headed out.
The Lord's Supper too.
Leona was bummed she missed that.
Yeah.
But
and I misunderstood you.
What is it?
You were like,
a couple
so I was like, am I supposed to go sit down again?
I will say, I do love your willingness, eagerness to just do whatever needed to be done.
Yeah.
And I gave you sort of a nod. I'm up there kind of playing, and I was trying to say, because I forgot to mention, I thought I'd covered every base, but I forgot to mention, could somebody bring me the... Well, you thought I was saying, come on up.
That's what I thought. I was like, I didn't know we were going to play another song.
Oh, we talked about doing another song, not right then.
Right,
but,
right.
I was like, speaking of the other song, I did post that this afternoon, this late afternoon, one of those tunes, the least copyrightable, Nothing But the Blood.
Yeah.
So I did our typical worship song in black and white and posted that this afternoon. So be sure to go like and subscribe that to add to
Like and subscribe.
Like and subscribe.
Make sure algorithm knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
We appreciate it.
Hit the notification bell.
Algorithm.
Algorithm.
All right. Well, anyhow, but yeah, there were some funny logistical moments where I realized I had my notebook here, and I also had my, following the plan for the service itself. And normally I do the songs. I can set my notebook, and I have the sermon right there. This time it was in two different things, right? So I had to put one here, and then here's this part. I'm done with this part, but wait, there's still more, but I do need this. It's like, I wish I just put it all in one thing. So there's a lot of kind of twisting and turning. I'm standing now, I'm sitting now, I'm going to grab this here, I'm playing guitar, I'm holding a cup from the Lord's Supper. It's just crazy. But
it's all good.
But it worked, all things considered, it still worked great, I thought. And also Harper under the sign.
Very cute picture.
Yeah,
yes, absolutely.
Cutest thing ever.
I showed it to Colette. We agree. Feel free to use it as a promotional.
Hey, great. Yeah, I want to be
adorable.
careful.
Yeah.
She's like, oh my gosh.
Oh, that's okay.
She got the sign, it says Compass Church, and she's under it smiling. It's like, this level's too perfect.
I know some parents get a little weirded out about, like, they won't post their kids' faces.
Sure,
right. But it's,
Well, we'll be careful.
She's been part of Compass for so long,
So true.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
She's like a little face of Compass right now.
Yeah, absolutely.
Also, to beckon more children to come.
Of course, yeah.
She can be our Pied Piper. Oh, well. Well, anyway, it was good to be with you guys.
Yeah.
What else?
I apologize if I missed your explanation of this, or what was the decision for us doing, or us partaking in the Lord's Supper all together versus how we normally do it, where it's just, as you feel led, go to the table, partake, and then...
This is a fantastic opener question. Jake, thanks for asking that. So normally what I say when we're getting ready to do the Lord's Supper is I say, this isn't the only way we'll always do the Lord's Supper, but we haven't really done it differently. And it was honestly the thing that spurred, it's time we need to change this up just a little bit and keep it fresh. In a lot of churches, what happens, you go in and they pass a thing around.
Oh yeah,
the
I
roads.
grew up doing that. Oh yeah,
Okay.
yeah, that's what I
And
wish.
then
Did you know
all
were you one
together-
of the pastors too?
I think like once we had like a youth Sunday where we
Yeah.
like run it.
Oh,
but
nice.
yeah, but like growing up in church, that's how our church did it. Was everybody
Yeah.
we'd grab one out of the tray and then
Sure.
you wait, and then it was the body of Christ, the blood of Christ, and you can that's when you
Yeah, so I like making that a fresh kind of experience. So sometimes, some churches say you should do it every single Sunday, and yeah, that's fine too. I don't think we have to do that every Sunday, but some churches make it available every Sunday in some way. I like that we can be more thoughtful about it instead of just ritualistic about it. And those little changes like that kind of keep it. It's still the same. We haven't changed
Right.
what we're doing. So, but the thing that spurred me on was my visit to my friend in Arizona.
Okay.
And I was reminded how important it is. He gave, it was different, they were doing it slightly differently that day as well. And so they had 2 spots over here. And he gave the direction, if you were a follower of Jesus, just come forward and participate, get the elements and bring it back. But he didn't quite say, I can't remember if it was clear because we were a little fuzzy, but so we went, got them, came back together, and then just that clarity of knowing what to do. And I'm always thinking about if you're new, if you don't understand, it's just so clear the things that we all do instinctively because we've been around so long. We sometimes forget what it's like to be a new person. And but just giving that clear direction, we're going to do this together now.
Yeah.
Boom, we're going to do this together now. Boom. So, yeah, and there'll be other times where we may do the Lord's Supper in a small group in a home. There are a variety of ways to share the Lord's Supper. But yeah, that's kind of it. So, I don't know if that answers fully.
Yeah,
but that was-
absolutely. Yeah, no,
that
makes
was the
sense for
thing.
sure.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was a very, when we were visiting, I thought it was really nice and clear. Well, let's try that because we're almost doing exactly this. Let's just do it this all together on this one. But the next time we do it, probably won't be like that. So it'll always be,
Yeah.
a little different. Cool. Yeah, that's a great question.
It's one of the, again, neat things about the Bible. It tells you to do it, doesn't tell you how to do it.
Yeah.
Right.
Right. In fact, the Corinthian church, because there's a whole bit about what was happening in Corinth, and that's a whole different thing, and why they were doing it wrong, and why they were having problems. And the description of how they were would have been doing it right looks so different than what we normally do. What we normally do is more of it's just helping with the logistics of the thing, right? To get, if it's particularly the more people there are, to make that work well. But yeah, even in Corinth, they were doing some stupid things. Not just about Lord's Supper. It's one of those troubled churches in all of Scripture.
There's a meme where Paul says, "Hey, how you guys doing? I know how you're doing. Wait." And they respond, "Oh, we're doing okay." And all you see is the 3 dots for a long
That's great.
Oh, this is going to be epic.
That's very simple.
Have you seen the one where it's a person that's like, oh, hey, you got a letter, and the person receiving the letter, it's their name tag is like the Church of the United States or whatever, and they're like, oh, cool, who's it from? It's from Paul.
Well, all right. How are we doing on time, by the way?
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's not flashing yet.
No, good.
It's not, I think it's single digits, but we are coming up on practice time too.
Yeah, it's true. All right. Well, Bob, you want to say something?
Well, going back to Exodus. We know God is just, but He's
Yes.
also love.
Yes.
And we know that from John 3:16.
Yes.
Oh, thanks, Bob.
Yeah. And so John 3:16, for God so loved the world that He gave His one and only Son, that whosoever believes in Him shall not perish, but have everlasting life.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you, Bob.
Very good. Good stuff right there, for sure.
And He demonstrated that by saving the Israelites.
Yeah,
well, that's true.
True.
All right. Anything else before we get ready to wrap up here? Something from the weekend or last weekend or the last weekend's message or
It's all blurring
yesterday?
together. Everything's
Yeah, I'm with you.
It's separate.
Next week we're going to be here.
Yes.
Church on the Green.
Yeah.
Backyard.
Full band. We want to invite as many people as we can. Give that a good kind of 4th of July-like atmosphere with burgers and all that stuff. Big celebration. So we're kind of technically saying goodbye to you. I know you're going to be around for a couple of weeks. But
So we're going to have you host the party for your goodbye.
What all can I get to do? What all can I get you to do that day?
How did you talk us into that? Yeah, happy to do that.
That's got to be great.
Yeah.
So there was something else I needed to say. Yes. Oh, so our podcast will be dark just for a little while till we kind of regroup, and then we'll talk about what's happening next. This is a perfect time if you've been following from afar, by the way,
To come here.
and you kind of like what we talk about and what we're a part of. If you're anywhere in this area, we desperately need you to be a part of our next phase. So that's my open invitation to you, whoever you are. You want to be a part of a church that's actually out in the community doing things. Man, we want to talk to you now because this is the time.
Yeah.
But anyway, all right. Well, anything else before we go?
Nope.
I got it.
All right, Tracy, this is your last podcast, I think. Probably. Maybe not.
Oh, I don't know.
We'll see. We won't make it sappy. So in that case, we meet somewhere in the world for real. Every single week. You can usually find us online by going to Facebook right now. Compass Church Colorado is where you'll find us there, and you can discover more at compassdenver.com. And we'd love to have you as our guest this Sunday, not at 10 this Sunday, at 11 this Sunday. So it's gonna be
Right here.
right here.
Outside.
But if you're here at 10, you can help us set up.
There you go. Come on.
Yeah, we'll be mostly set up by
Yeah, we
then.
should be mostly set up by then.
Yeah.
All right. All right, guys, final words.
I love you guys. I really do. And I love everyone out there.
And likewise.
This has been great because he is great.
Grace and peace to you. That's all we have for tonight. And that is, I think I said it wrong. Didn't I?
Yep, you did.
Grace to you and peace. There you go. There it is. That's all we have for tonight, and we are out.
Bye.
Bye.
See you next time.
It's kind of like that mystery word, but I can't think of what it said. But it's like completely mispronounced. I mean, it's like.
During this observations of the Passover. Observations of the Passover.